Good morning. Welcome to the upper deck for Pinstripe Chronicles.
Cue the music.
Good morning and welcome to the upper deck for Pinstripe Chronicles. I'm Chris. That's Lynn. And hey, happy Sunday. We're really glad that you're with us.
Yeah. Hey, good morning, FJ. Good morning, Jonathan. Good to see you. Happy Sunday. Happy Sevy Sunday. And what a wild week.
What a week. Oh my God. The good, the bad, the ugly. And everything in between happened this week.
Yeah, and we could sit here and talk all day about it, but we know we got a game coming up at an ungodly Sunday hour as it is. So,
oh my God, yes.
Jump right in. But first, good morning, Lori. Happy Sunday. Hey, Uncle Tats.
Hey, thanks for joining in.
Yeah.
And we want to start this morning with our trivia question. We thought that we would see whether it's a little change in the format might help us identify the answer a little quicker here. So, Lynn, why don't you shoot us the trivia question and we'll work on that while we go through the show.
That's right. And this way you guys could put your answers in as the show goes on, as you think about them, while you pay attention to our scintillating conversation, of course. But here's our question from Spencer. So this weekend, as you know, we're playing the Reds. This series brings back many things, many memories, including the 1976 World Series. A less than fond moment in Yankee history, after Chris Chambliss's ALCS winning home run to propel the Yanks into their first World Series since 1964, as the Reds swept the Yankees in the 76 Fall Classic. Question: who was the last Yankees batter in the 1976 World Series?
Oh, wow. What a question.
So in 1976, who was the last Yankees batter in the World Series, which was swept by Cincinnati? We were swept.
Was that the Big Red Machine?
Was that the year of the Big Red Machine?
Yeah. Was that why we were swept? I mean, that's before my baseball watching time, actually. Anyway,
it was the bicentennial. That's about all I remember.
Bicentennial. What are your thoughts on the series so far, Lynn, that we're experiencing now in Cincinnati?
Well, it feels less brutal than the Toronto Jays, which, think now they're to me, what they're trying to be, the Wicked Witch of the North. And we could talk about that. Look, I fully expect the sweep. I came into it fully expecting the sweep. And it's funny because I was seeing on Twitter, I think one person was our friend Jed Weisberger saying that it's a home run hitter's park. Well, that's proving true for us, but not for the Reds, and it's their own park. So I like the way it's going. I think I'm a little bit surprised at what they have been able to do. And so it hasn't been like a yawn fest. There's been some moments where you're thinking, oh, okay, we're going to have to go into extras, and we did. But I fully expect. So the great news is here we are. We know we won the series. And that's been a thing we haven't been able to say very often. We have the 2 out of 3. Now we're just going for the sweep.
Right. And as you were saying, compared to what we put up with during the Jays series, this is seeming completely civilized. The Jays series was a shocker. I mean, the cheating allegations, I know Lori's mentioning those in the chat. The cheating allegations were shocking. It's almost like, do the Jays really watch? Are they baseball people or what?
Well, and I would recommend that if you're not following medium.com, you do, if only to look for an article from a writer named Wet Billy, who wrote an article, "The Toronto Blue Jays Are an Embarrassment." And his whole thing was they want to be our rivals so bad. And they don't even realize that they don't rise to the level where they could be our rival. And to me that was very clear with these accusations in Toronto. And the whole thing about the the base coaches being out of the box, and the side eye Chris, and the judge side eye, great, thanks for giving us memes forever that
Right.
archived and ready to use it for all sorts of reasons. Hey Steve, good to see you. Hey Spencer and Sunil, good to see you. But what unsportsmanlike behavior. This isn't, we see that across all teams except ours.
Right.
That whole scenario with the base coaches and the manager, the leader of the team,
Right.
to be like, shut up, fat boy, sit down, fat boy, nonsense. So unnecessary. And so, like, they're that desperate that they want to cause this distraction and give the fans something to cheer about, which Toronto fans seem to be a little bit too polite to get. You could try that in Yankee Stadium, but no. And the other thing is, yeah, and you're right, FJ. They thought they could get under Judge's skin. Like, a tick can't get under Judge's skin. What they live to do. So no, he's Aaron Judge, and no, that's not going to be the thing. So they just made themselves look stupid.
Yeah.
And then I think Lori saying, and Elliot's chiming in, yeah, they're baseless, those cheating allegations. Maybe they're confusing us with the Astros. I'm not sure. Maybe that's it. But the other thing is, I think this ties in some way to the sticky stuff scandal. Because, yes, I'm calling it a scandal at this point. It's two of our pitchers being targeted. And I have no knowledge if this is going on in other teams. But, Herman, it's different with Herman than it is with Schmidt. But why were they... What were they suspicious of? And when we know that rosin is allowed, and Schmidt went into the dugout and washed their hands like they asked to, came back, and they were like, I thought he was going to lose a few layers of skin. The way they were, yeah, I'm pretty sure I don't feel anything at all. Yeah, you try. Yeah, I don't feel it either. So it's just ridiculous, and it's really irresponsible of MLB to not have defined the boundaries around this. If rosin is allowed, and if it's showing that most times it ends up being rosin, then get a test developed so that they could put a drop on somebody's skin and it turns blue. Like, all good, it's rosin. Because this is just ridiculous, and it's subjective, and they choose who they want to choose.
Right.
Everyone gets checked, but these conversations seem to be only happening with us. And like I said, that's not fair for me to say, because I don't watch all teams and their games.
Right. And yet, at the same time, we can't say Herman was smart. I mean, what an idiot. Herman, now he's got the 10-game suspension, and
in a time where we have no rotation, period.
In a time when luckily, as we pointed out, Severino's back today. Yay!
Sevy Sunday.
Sevy Sunday. We can say that again. Thank God we got Sevy coming back to sort of save the day today, presuming he does.
Yeah, but there was no guarantee of that until we saw him in the lineup, even though it was expected. And it's just part of the garbage pail that is Herman. And I try my best and mostly succeed as viewing him just for what he does for the team. But you're cheating on top of everything else, and yeah, I just
yeah. And I think Sunil hit the nail on the head. It does put Herman in the same conversation with a clown like Pineda, I mean, don't be a clown.
Right. Yeah, and it was making me laugh because somebody on Twitter was trying to tell me, and he posted a picture of the chewing tobacco spittle on Herman's pants.
Yeah.
Like I needed a close up of that. And say, for somebody with the name That's Baseball, you clearly don't know baseball because that's chewing tobacco. And like, yeah. So anyway, it's been so that was like weird and wild, and I couldn't get out of and Boone was quoted as saying, "I'm so glad we're leaving at the end," and I don't blame him. It was a horrible thing, and yeah, I think FG set it up earlier that they're going to have a big problem on September 19th when they're in our house again. So when they return to the Bronx, yeah, it's not going to be pretty.
Yeah,
so.
No, I doubt that very much. It was an interesting week from the point of view that Steinbrenner, I think, made his presence felt. He made some comments to John Hyman and Joel Sherman on the show this week. He said that he has closed door meetings with Judge, Boone, and Cole. And I thought that was a very interesting statement. What did you think of that, Lynn?
Yeah, I do as well. And sorry, I'm sorry, Sunil. I'm sorry, we lost your comments about Lance Lynn.
Yeah, so, I was looking for it too. I didn't see it,
sorry, and that's what I was preoccupied doing. So
that's all right. But to get back to what,
sorry, my bad.
That's okay. To get back to what Steinbrenner said, I think it's interesting in terms of the clubhouse makeup that he's chosen these leaders to communicate with and to get the perspective from Judge Cole. It's interesting.
It is, and I don't know if this is a new thing or not, but it's encouraging to me because if he's bringing in the captain and the side captain, the captain, because, and I forget who said it last week, but it was such a great point that they should do it like football. Like there should be captains for the pitcher and a captain for the pitchers and fielders.
Yeah.
So, but we actually do have that here, and that's clear now. And I think it's great because they're there to give the temperature in the dugout, the dynamics of the team, who they feel is being that team guy, being responsive to their comments and their tips. And then conveniently, we saw a big change this week.
Yeah. And I think too, I mean, yesterday we found out about Hicks getting DFA'd, and that had to come from Steinbrenner as well, I would think.
Exactly. And was anybody else fainting when they read that? You could have knocked me down with a feather because I did not expect that. Because we have been yelling about that for so long, I thought they would never listen.
No.
And I gave up. So, and
wow.
So,
and Hicks has 2.5 years left on his contract. It's a $70 million contract.
Yeah. So, like I was saying to you earlier, Chris, it's a hell of an unemployment check to be getting. He'll be fine, but
he'll be fine.
But I'm sure he's sad. I mean, this is his career, and we'll see if somebody picks him up.
Right.
he did. Maybe people will remember that he did make some, hits his last 2 games with the Yankees. Maybe they'll remember that and take him. I don't know.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know about that, but everybody's excited to see Greg Allen return. Another kind of mystery to me. How about you?
Let's see what the chats are saying. Oh, Chris, I'm sorry. Can you repeat that? I'm a squirrel this morning.
That's all right.
Oh, no, and I just Elliot's helping us moderate.
Sunil's got his comment about Lance Lynn. The comments from earlier on Lance Lynn was that there's an article floating, always intention to nail Judge with a heater should he peak for signs again. Well, that is Lance Lynn an idiot or what? I mean, Judge did not peak for signs. There were no signs, right? I thought there were no signs.
Yeah, I'm sure there were no signs, and the other theory going around was that he wasn't happy with the way the dugout was still shouting out at the Blue Jays dugout, and he was kind of being the father and giving them a nasty side eye look. And still in all, you don't become a future Hall of Famer and smash all of these Yankees records since for the past 100 plus years, and need to rely on a tipping pitch, pitches being tipped. So move on. Maybe there was a bug flying over there that was annoying him, and he was like, "Go away, bug." You don't know.
You don't freaking know.
Ridiculous.
And who made Lance Lynn the arbiter of these sorts of things? He's gonna nail Judge for peaking. Okay.
Right. Yeah. And you're going to be, do you have an optical tracking device that you could, prove where his eyes were going? And, you could read what his mind was processing from it. Give me a break. This is how desperate they were. And they're looking to get a rise out of us. Were they so scared of us that they wanted to make it about anything but the actual game? So that they would be all flustered and in their own heads, and then the Jays could really, really slam us.
Right.
Jonathan, from your mouth, my friend. I
think that there's a very good chance Herman won't be around just because of he seems to have no character of a solid character of any kind. He doesn't mind cheating. He doesn't mind, obviously, other shenanigans that we don't approve of.
Right.
I can definitely see Herman as being out on the outs.
It's not the Yankee way, and
no.
I just really hope that's the next thing that Judge and Cole bring to these meetings with Hal. I hope that they already talked about it. I don't know. I think they told me the meetings are on Tuesdays. They haven't talked about Herman yet, but I hope that's the next conversation. He's of no benefit, and it's not like we thought. It's not like he's such a reliable, like, oh my God, we can't lose him. We don't care how much of a piece of what he is.
Right.
We have to deal with it because he's like Cole. So no, let someone else take him. So
yeah, you won't get an argument from me, although I like Herman. I've always liked Herman's pitching, but come on, guy, let's be reliable, be a Yankee. I don't want to forget to bring up Gleyber Torres this week. He's under fire again. A lot of Yankees Twitter calling for his head.
Yeah, I think rightly so, because we're seeing a lot of sloppy stuff.
Yeah.
There was that one play in particular that his it was almost like what we were complaining about when he was playing short. His left foot didn't know what his right foot was doing. And, and he's no Nestor Cortez, so he couldn't really carry it out. And, yeah. And it cost us. And that
cost us the run.
It's in my head. He's been very sloppy, with his plays at second this whole series. And I think in Toronto as well.
Right.
Something's up with him, and certainly not the go-to at the bat. Right now, rather see him in the box than on the field, but still.
Right. And I'd like to just agree with an article that I picked up but I didn't write down who it was, so you'll just have to bear with me. But this is who Gleyber is now. He's a streaky hitter. He's got a 20 home run potential every year. He might have some clutch hits. He might not. His defense is suspect. What do you guys in the chat think about Gleyber? Is he on the bubble or not?
Well, Jonathan's saying bye, bye, bye. And yes, let's see. Torres just has a poor baseball IQ. I would agree.
Unfortunately, I think that he doesn't have Gleyber when he stops to think, it's a bad thing.
Yeah. So yes, poor baseball IQ, and possibly doesn't tie his shoelaces in a double knot the way he is. And Lori, just become more blunt. It's something that I suggest you work on in the future.
Yeah. I think, and comparing Gleyber with Sanchez, Gleyber came up as an elite prospect. He's a 5-tool guy. And yet, I think, anyway, isn't he? 4 tools? But he's not speedy, that's for sure. But at this point, it looks like Peraza is hot on the heels of Torres. He's going to possibly come up and steal his job.
And the sooner the better. Yeah. And there's a friend of ours on Twitter, Tom Kosensky, by the way, writes a blog covering the minor leagues. And he had a good report this week if you want to check it out. I'll put the link in the chat actually. And it's talking about how hot Peraza continues to be. And so yeah, they can bring him up anytime now.
Anytime now. He's batting .362 with a .982 OPS. He's got elite defense. He's coming on.
Yep. And we clamored to have him early on in the season. We got Volpe instead. No regrets there. But
right.
We shouldn't wait. What's one more?
Exactly. And if Gleyber Torres is one of the players on the team who's cold, definitely some hot players. Judge and Rizzo are scalding hot right now.
Absolutely slaying it, and
slaying it,
and love to see it, and expect to see it today. And just back to Gleyber for a minute. You had reminded me, Chris, that this is his last season. He goes into arbitration at the end of the 23 season. So it'll be interesting to see. I guess the proof will be in the arbitration. And, but I certainly don't see Gleyber wanting to go anywhere else. It's going to be a matter of if the Yankees decide to make it worth the while.
Right.
So, yeah. Absolutely replaceable, Spencer. I mean, we all are in some way, shape, or form, but when it comes to this game, yes, absolutely. And already with people that can.
Yeah.
We want up, but we have more utility guys and we have a couple of super utility guys than we've had in recent memory. So, but we can't just, toss them to the curb.
No. Can you throw up the lineup for today? I mean,
sure
I don't understand this lineup.
Yep. Let me get that up.
Yeah. Does anybody else? I mean, no Judge.
Yep.
You put Sevy back, put Judge in the lineup. Give us the best chance to win.
Yeah, so there it is. And so.
And Torres in the leadoff spot. I don't like that. I don't like Torres leading off.
I mean, we were just talking about this, so we're putting this up right on cue.
Yeah.
And as far as Judge goes, they're resting tomorrow, and so this is an opportunity to give him 2 days rest. I mean, he has been slugging, and he's not all that far out from his injury. I don't know, but Calhoun DHing has me puzzled. What's everyone saying? Yeah. What's everyone saying in the chat? Yeah, Elliot. Game starting in 10 minutes. Thank you.
Yeah, we will turn it off before that happens.
So we'll just have to see. IKF. I'm not cringing at IKF because at least recently, because of what he's been doing pretty okay.
Oh, yeah.
Now, what to expect in terms of number of pitches from Sevy came out on Twitter. John Harvey at PJ Yankees DVED asked, is Sevy good for 75 to 80 pitches today? What do you guys think about that? 75 to 80 pitches out of Sevy today on his return. Yeah. Julian Guarte had responded that he only threw around 60 in Somerset. So, he's saying closer to 75. If he was throwing 60 in Somerset when he was, doing the sim games, then I don't know if 75 is even a stretch. But we certainly want to see it because we're going to be stacking the bullpen as usual. So the longer and deeper he could go, and it's going to depend on his pitches, right. How many he's spending because he's not locating. And so, or pitching the right pitch for the right guy. So Sunil's saying 70.
Spencer, which I think sounds about right.
Yep. And Spencer is saying realistically 60 pitches, 4 innings if he pitches a clean game. Before, let's see, I wanted to go up towards the beginning, the guesses for the trivia question, which I'll repeat again in case anybody wants to, anybody joins after we talked about it. I'm going to jump right to the question. So during the Fall Classic in 1976, when the Yankees faced the Reds, who was and beat us, they swept us. Not happening this time. Who was the last Yankees batter in the 1976 World Series? So when the Reds swept us in 76, who was the last Yankees batter? So we have Nettles as a guest. We have Jim Mason as a guest. As a guest, not a guest. He's not coming on. And I don't see any other guesses. So if you've made it to the end of the chat, end of this podcast, and for those of you in the chat, I will tell you the answer is Roy White.
Ah, okay.
Roy White. So really good guesses, though. I get why you're guessing that. And Jonathan Chambliss was the right answer. Were we talking about the ALCS? But it's the Fall Classic that we were asking about. But Chambliss, that answer makes sense because he did in a very big series. So I think that's back on you, Chris.
Yeah, I think that wraps it up for us this week. We've got the game on Peacock. I hope everybody in the chat has Peacock subscription and can watch the game today. I know I do. Lynn, are you in on Peacock?
Yep. And I begrudgingly went. And so as always, we're so grateful for those in the chat that joined us, and those that will be watching this after. And don't forget that every Sunday you'll always have a reserved seat with Chris and me right here on the upper deck. Let's sweep it, boys. Go Yankees!
Go Yankees!